Okay. Hi, y'all. Hey, everyone. Tree huggers and tree lovers. This is Suzanne, and we are here with 100 for Trees to do our interview. And before we get into the special guest that we have tonight, he's awesome. But before we get to that, I just want to explain that what 100 for Trees is. It's a passion project that I have where I run 100 miles every single month to raise awareness and funds to plant trees. So it's a passion project of mine. I've always loved trees. And in this process, I have been able to meet some amazing people. And as I've heard their stories of their passion projects, I have realized that I want to share these. I want everyone to hear these amazing things that they have done and that they are doing. And a lot of times I found that there was a common theme of these people had to overcome something and really look at themselves honestly and go through a lot of self-doubt, some outside exterior difficulties usually in order to pursue their passion. And it takes a lot of courage to pursue your passion. So I've been really just overwhelmed with the people that I've met. And tonight I'd like to introduce Derek Kozlowski. And so I want to make sure I'm saying that right because he sounds like a secret agent to me for some reason. That last name sounds like a secret agent, so that might be my nickname for him. So it's Derek Kozlowski, and we'll put on there how you can find him as the show goes on. Derek is a veteran and a digital marketer coach. He has overcome some incredible challenges, and he is very candid and authentic about it because his passion is helping people, and he feels that if he can share his story and help people, well, then that's what he wants to do. So without any hesitation, we are going to bring in Derek. All right. Hi,
Hey,
Derek.
Suzanne. How
How
are
are you
you?
doing?
I am great. Thank you for the honor of, thank you for the welcome, the introduction. Um,
Thank you so much for being here. You're a busy man. I follow your social media. You are a mover and a shaker, but something I've noticed about him, and I forgot to say this part, and I'll say this before I let him go, is he's very consistent and his message is so authentic. He's always on there. He's very authentic. And I was watching him, I was like, man, this guy is just like, I want to know this guy more. And so this is how we met. And it's been,
yeah,
as I've gotten to know him, it's just been more deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's the type of people that we love to showcase. So Derek, I know you're really busy and I appreciate you making the time to be on here.
absolutely. I'm honored to be asked. It's fun. Uh,
Thank you. And did we say your last name correctly?
you did, Kozlowski. It, I've been called Koz since I was two. Um,
I like it.
I answer to either one, but Koz is a lot easier for people to say.
Cause I like it. We'll call you Agent Cause. Got it. Well, Derek, you have an amazing story, and I came to you and didn't even realize how deep it went. I'd like to say just real quick when I read his post and he put some good stuff in there. I noticed that his style of writing is different than a lot of stuff that I read. And as I asked him about that, he mentioned that, oh, I don't use AI. I talk from my heart. I say it. I spell check it. Push send. I think that's a great place to start. Do you mind kind
Yeah,
of?
no, absolutely. Yes, so social media is a great tool, but I mean, let's face it, we are so used to seeing perfection
Mhm.
and people's lives that are just, it's the Lambo lifestyle and everybody's perfect and everybody's slinging it. And the truth is we all have shiz. All of us have stuff going on. Nobody's life is perfect. And I I don't it's easier for me just to say what than it is to try and be perfect because anyone that knows me knows I'm not.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, for me, social media is a platform to reach out and help people. And the more honest and authentic I've been, um, once I made that decision that I was going to like actually post some of my struggles on Facebook, it's people have just come in droves. So the number one thing I would say to anyone listening is if you really want to leverage social media, show up as you, just like
Mm,
you are. there's no dressing this up. This is me. And so I don't try to. This is, I don't have a Lambo, I have a truck. It's, that's how I live and that's how I portray it. And if you do that, people will connect. Absolutely.
You're very good about what you just said, putting that into writing and sharing it. I can attest that comes across in your posts. I'd like to talk a little bit about your background, if that's okay. And by the way, thanks for that tip. You guys don't negate that. That's a big deal. I'd like to go a little bit into your background. You're a veteran, correct?
I am. I went in the U.S. Army right out of high school. 2 weeks after high school, I was in the Army. I was a combat signaler, which means I was the guy with the radio on your back that they shoot at. And I was in an airborne unit based in 18th Airborne Corps out of Fort Bragg. So and that was back in '88. So I'm old.
Nah.
I was an OG in Iraq. I was in the first Iraq war. My unit got deployed early in September of '90. So we were on lockdown when the invasion happened.
Wow.
So we knew we were going. We were all sitting packed, just waiting. And I volunteered to go early. So I was the first group of troops that went over from our unit out of Bragg. So we were 82nd deployed. We deployed with them. So it was a very quick deployment. So and it's funny. I was an E4, so a specialist is what they call it in the Army. When I got there, the day after I got there, they threw me in the Gulf, brought me out and pinned my sergeant stripes on. So that literally within a day of getting there, I was in charge of a combat squad. I had turned 21.
Oh my gosh.
A week earlier.
Wow.
So yeah, these are all my best friends. I stayed in the same unit. So now I've got a unit of my best friends and I'm the one responsible for making sure everybody stays safe.
And what was that like? What was that feeling like, that right there?
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. At a young age.
Yeah, it was really, we were all kids, but, I was asked on December 22nd. They said, they came in the room, they said, we need 2 NCOs. So two sergeants and above to volunteer to go on an unspecified mission north, was all they said. And it's like, they always say, don't volunteer for anything. I was ready. Another sergeant steps that's with me, he was ready.
Wow.
They called us into a room and everybody else was like, oh man, you guys just screwed up. And so they called us into a room and they said, we're glad you guys volunteered because you were going anyway.
Oh my gosh. So, okay. So much for that.
Yeah. They gave us the opportunity to step up and we did. And so I was in a forward operating unit for the engineering force in country. So we were 20th Engineers was in charge of all of the U.S. Army engineering units. And, you think of engineers in the outside world as people who build things. In the military, what it means is the guys with bulldozers, the guys who build bridges, and most importantly, the guys who clear mines.
Oh.
So we were the combat engineers. So we were the guys that cleared mines. So that was the purpose of our unit. I was in a headquarters battalion, so I was over the communications to all the engineering units we had in country and keeping them all coordinated. And the thing about being able to talk in war is if you can't talk, people die. Yeah. So everybody's always talking. So we deployed, and the reason I went into this is December 26th, they said, grab your stuff and roll out. And so myself and the other sergeant, Sergeant Dahl, we rolled out and got in trucks, and we headed west initially. So we went all the way to the far western front and came up directly south of Baghdad. So we were the westernmost troops in country.
Oh, wow.
And I can remember the night the air war started. We were the northernmost unit in country. We were the closest to the border of all the units, other than special forces. Who knows where those guys were? We were the northernmost regular military unit in country, and we were a headquarters brigade. So we're all sitting out in foxholes with, sharing night vision. I mean, we didn't have a lot of stuff. We had iron sights and stuff, and a couple, MA4 rocket launchers guarding exactly where the tanks were coming down. And they're like, guys, we were told we're going to hold this.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it was a freaky night. I remember that night like no others. The planes just kept going overhead and bombing, and we're all sitting here shaking, and it's raining and cold, and we're just chain smoking cigarettes underneath the poncho all night. And nothing happened. They didn't come south. They were bombing the crap out of up north, but that was where we were. And then we started moving up north into Iraq. I could tell horror stories about, what happened and all that, but what I'll say is the constant was the fear. So you were always in situations, whether it's, back then it was Scud attacks, possible gas alerts, mine. We're dealing with explosives all over the place, having to go ahead of the 82nd, make sure there's no mines, drop back. And the whole time we're coordinating this as a 20-man unit, moving up with them. So we had the French Light and 82nd moving north. We got to within 100 kilometers of Baghdad when they called the ceasefire. So we were ready to go into Baghdad. We were actually sitting in the trucks. They were running, pointing north when the ceasefire came.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we sat there for, I can't even remember how long it was. We sat there for a while and started doing what they call BDA, battle damage assessments. So we were going to neighboring towns, making sure they were clear, making sure there were no bodies, and dealing with explosives. So we had dropped, I heard the other day on the news, 784,000 tons of ordnance.
Oh my gosh.
During Desert Storm.
Wow.
And a lot of it was cluster bombs. And cluster bombs look like metal baseballs. Some of them explode on impact. Some of them land, destroy, and go off when they get disturbed, and others do air burst. So they're wicked. They're banned now by NATO, but very wicked weapons. And a lot of our job was cleaning up all the ones that hadn't exploded.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So yeah, we lost 7 at Talil Air Base to an explosion, cluster bombs. And we literally, it's one of those situations where I was there, I was talking to them, we made contact, we asked them to radio in, we got in the trucks, we rode off. We weren't 2 minutes when the radio call came in we heard the explosion, they called for medevac immediately. And so I'm calling it in, and 30 seconds later, they said, cancel. So, wow. I mean, it's things like that. I mean, we were right there, and then the explosion, and then you realize, and that was, wow. So, there's just so many instances like that you don't really remember fully.
Yeah.
So, fast forward, we went through some stuff that's hard, it sucked, honestly. I got out of Iraq. went out of Iraq into Kuwait down the highway of death,
Mm,
when it was still a highway of death.
mhm.
Uh, you can Google that. A lot of it was bad. I remember like the rain, the noon sky. It was dark
Mhm.
and black, and it rained black from the oil well fires.
Oh my gosh.
You could feel the heat from 2 miles away, and the roar of the fire. You could feel it in your chest.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we're just. I mean, this is like world-ending stuff. You're like, we're
Yeah.
just. So we rolled into Kuwait. We did a battle damage assessment on the harbor, heavily mined. They were waiting for us to come in there, and we didn't. Uh, I rolled out April 1st and was standing in the U.S. on April 3rd. They literally said, "Kaz, we can get you on a flight tomorrow. Do you want it?"
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
they
Right.
said, "Well, go ahead and get some sleep. We'll wake you up." I was like, "No.
Yeah.
Where do we get in line?" I was ready to
Yeah.
go. So it'd been 7 months. I had been all I could be and was ready to go home. And I had college acceptance papers, so I needed to get home. This
Mhm.
was in April. College started in August. I was ready to get home and go to school. So I was out of the military within a month. They gave me a fast track because we were to deploy to, I think, Bolivia in the next 2 months. So we weren't getting much leave and we were deploying again. And I was like, I've got to get out.
Yeah.
So I was out, and back from war, and didn't have my buddies. I was living in
Mhm.
North Carolina. My family was in Indiana, so I didn't know anyone.
Mhm.
And started school, and it was rough. I,
So wait, you come out of the military in May? Is that May? Mayish? And then you're in school in August.
went
Wow.
directly as a freshman to college. Yeah, I went to NC State.
Wow.
And, it's funny because I did just come out of a war zone, and
Mhm.
I with kids who had just come out of college, high school.
Yeah.
And it was a total disconnect of, it was, and I was not in good shape. I mean, I wasn't in good shape. I
Mhm.
had rage, uncontrollable, just, I couldn't drive. I had the terror of driving.
Mhm.
Um, Drinking heavy, smoking. It was bad. I didn't really know it.
Yeah.
It took someone pointing it out to me, and I mean, it got to the point my dog didn't want to have anything to do with me. So
Wow.
my dog was avoiding me, and I don't touch my dogs. I mean,
Yeah.
it
They
wasn't.
feel it.
Yeah, the dog wouldn't come near me. I mean, I was
Yeah.
rage.
Mhm.
Um, a couple fights and things I got into, and I made it through my freshman year and halfway through my sophomore year. I wasn't sleeping. I'd be awake for 4 or 5 nights and then crash. So I was drinking, smoking pot, trying to get to sleep. Then in the day, I'm pumping coffee, and then just doing anything I can to get sleep. And I'd be awake for nights on end
Mhm.
until I physically couldn't. I would crash, and then it just would the cycle would start over again.
Mhm.
Um, and a vet saw me. He came to the house for something to work. He was a Vietnam vet, and he looked at me and he said, "You don't have any idea what's happening, do you?" And I was mad. He saw me get angry, and few choice words, and said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I was in Vietnam,"
Mhm.
and he said, "And you need help, brother."
Mm.
And I was like, he kind of stopped me in my tracks. I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "I see it all over you." He said, "I knew as soon as I walked up."
Had anyone ever told you this yet? Had anyone even hinted?
No, they knew things were going on. I mean, my girlfriend took off. friends were deserting. I mean, I was on my own. And fights, and I wasn't pleasant. I didn't like me. So I said, okay. And I heard him, but I didn't really do anything. And about a week later, I had a migraine so bad that I was starting to not be able to see. And so I went to a Ready Med, and as I walked in, my nose exploded blood. And they said, you got a problem. So he said, you don't have a brain tumor. You're suffering from extreme anxiety. Are you a vet? And I said, yeah. He said, you need to get to the vet hospital. So kind of wrap all this up, went to the vet hospital. They said, you're just anxious from getting out of the military. You'll be okay. Sent me on my way.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So a month later, I wound up with a rifle in my mouth, trying to think of a reason, any reason not to. It wasn't that I was afraid to die. I was like, is there any reason to not to? I had lots of reasons to do it. And I said, I just prayed. I said, all right, God, I said, I need one. I just need one reason. I wish I had the foresight to ask him for a good reason, because it was one of those reasons where you're just like, really? But I asked for a reason, and he gave me one. And I said, okay, this is as low as it goes from here. And I went and sought private help, and I literally pretended there was nothing wrong for the next 30 years as I
oh my gosh,
destroyed 3 marriages, countless relationships, lost job opportunities. I mean, I was a mess, but I was pretending that I wasn't. A friend of mine reached out from Facebook, and she said, I have something I think you should look into. She said, check this website out and then call me back. So I went to it. It was for a transformational leadership thing. And she's like, I really think this is for you. I've just been through it. I'd love to sponsor you through it.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I jumped in it, and it was Boston Breakthrough Academy. I'll give them a plug. Fantastic. And there is now called Next Level Training, but I highly recommend them. But it's very intensive. They break you down. They confronted me and forced me to talk. And I cried for the first time in 30 years. I mean, it was, I didn't have emotion. I didn't cry.
So you shut down all your emotions for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Except anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything except anger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 2 years, this is 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, I went through this. And when I came out of there, I said, things have to change. And I started really seeking change and being honest, which ties in with the social medias. Once I came out and was public with it and said, I've been struggling with this for 30 some years. It's an issue. And I was dealing with it with extreme sports. And that's really how we met, because I saw you running 100 miles. I used to be an ultra endurance athlete. I was ultra running. I was doing adventure, eco challenge type stuff. 300, 400, 500-mile mountain bike rides, race across America on a road bike, 200-300-mile kayak races. So anything I could do that made me feel normal, because that extreme stress was normal.
Okay.
And even in my career, I sought super high intense stress situations because that's my normal. And it sucks to hear me. I'm hearing me say it, saying, dude, that's a problem. And it is a problem. It's really, wreaked havoc with my health. But I made a decision last January. I'm done being addicted to stress because it's not serving me. The VA did pick me up for benefits in August of 23. Is that right? August 23?
So a few months ago, like what is that? 5 months ago?
No, it's been longer than that. It must have been August of 22-ish. August of 22-ish, I think I got benefits. So I reapplied. A buddy of mine said reapply, and I did. Got benefits, and eventually it went up to full. They said you definitely impaired. So it's kind of ironic how that happens. I'm impaired now from something that happened 30 years ago, but I wasn't 30 years ago. Interesting the way the VA thinks.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for the care they've given me. But here's what I would say to anyone listening. One, you can't not talk about it, because if you won't talk about it, it will consume you. So I'm really good at walling up emotions, and I can wall people out very effectively.
I'll bet.
But then you hold it all in, and which is kind of the root of my problem. I said I was over all my best friends. They were scared. There were tears. We were scared. But Sergeant Kaz couldn't be scared, because I had other people looking to me to make sure that I led them without fear, that I sucked in their fear so that they would be able to do what they needed to do every day. And I've carried that for years. And mine I never released, because I couldn't. Who do you show it? I can't show it to my people, because if they're scared, then they can't be effective, and I can't keep them safe.
Yeah.
So I got really good at it, to my detriment, but I'm working out of that. I'm actually coming off of benzodiazepines as we speak.
Yes. Yes, he is.
It's been a journey with
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's been a journey with psych meds. I mean, they kept me alive when I needed them, but 28 years later, the side effects of them are starting to really show, and I have to get off, and it's rough.
That's not easy at all. Yeah.
No, they say it's like second to heroin.
I believe it. Yeah.
But I don't know what heroin's like.
Yeah.
But this sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
This isn't fun. Use them if you need them. As soon as you don't need them, don't use them.
Yeah.
It really, they're messing with your brain.
Yes. Yeah. The side effects, right.
So that's been my path. And now my passion is working online. And I'll tell you, I'm left the corporate world. The reason is the stress. But I also realized that here I'm very good at that. I've been the 911 guy for 30 years. So wherever there's a problem in the world, send Derek. Now I'm in a situation where I can help others. And so I use my talents to help, particularly online coaches. But then I use that platform to be able to sponsor vets and trauma survivors who have a hard time working outside the home. Because if you can give someone a path to income, they get their dignity back. When they get their dignity back, then everything's possible. Without dignity, people pull a trigger. And for me, I'm tired of seeing, brothers and sisters exit. It's just enough.
Yeah.
And if me talking up means that someone else says it's okay because I'm not the only one, and I wasn't special forces, and I'm not, we didn't see a lot of what other people saw. The whole point of trauma is there's no sliding scale.
Yeah. Right.
And you don't get to pick. It picks you. So I heard a lot of people say, well, I didn't go through what you went through. So I'm sure you don't understand. I said, no.
Yeah.
Trauma's trauma. I get it. There's no,
Right.
it's just the triggers are different.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm trying to do is just encourage people to speak up and be one of those people who's not afraid to stand up and say, yeah, things suck. They can get better. It's going to take some work, but it's worth the work. And to help people on that path. So your journey's trees. For me, it's keeping people around so they can actually see the trees again. So I'm very connected to your cause because the woods is my happy place. It's always been where I went to get away from people. So yeah, I'm most comfortable in the woods, and that's me. I'm like I said, I'm an open book. I have many secrets, and you can, if you go to my Facebook page, it takes about 2 minutes to find out that yeah, I'm the same person right here as I am in my pages. I'm an expert at being me, so I just decided being me was easier.
That's sometimes the hardest thing for people to do. It takes a tremendous amount of courage to be, like I said earlier, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I've had to work on, hi, Suzanne, I've had to work on, that as well as other things, I quit drinking. So I understand about something having to surrender to something that you feel powerless against, that is controlling the decisions you make that are
Yeah.
not you. And so I really applaud, and I'm just very grateful that you're here, and that you decided to stay here, whatever that one reason was. I'm glad that you got it. You got answers, and so whatever that one reason was, I'm glad. So glad that you're here to
Note to
share this.
self: ask for a good reason.
It's good enough to keep you there. Then maybe that was the reason. I just get just a few more minutes. We just need a few more minutes. So, um, wow, Derek, this is so powerful, and I just want to point out to everyone that he is in the process of tapering right now, and having been somebody who's had to come off of medication myself. Whenever I was in college, it's not fun. And the fact that before we started this interview, you were sharing that, your blood pressure was at a certain, higher rate at baseline right now. And so thank you for stepping out here, because you were like, let's just do it. I even asked him, do you want to reschedule? He goes, no, this is me. This is how it's going to be. Let's just do it. And you step out there in your business that same way. And you're still being a leader. You're still taking it and being a leader with so much authenticity. And like I sometimes say, when I find out somebody's been through something tough, I'm so sorry you went through what you went through. I'm so happy that you are who you are to give this back.
So, someone asked me last weekend, his family fled Kuwait during the invasion. So I had a personal he felt a personal connection. So he had a lot of questions because he was too young to remember. So as I was speaking to him about all this, he said, do you resent having gone in the way the military's kind of viewed now? And I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. My mom even asked me today, don't you just hate that, you had to go I said, no, I'd do it again. I absolutely would do it again, because we're purpose driven, and that was my purpose. I mean, you can't deny your purpose. So, I love my country. And if I went, somebody else's son or daughter, husband, wife didn't have to go.
Yeah.
So no, I would go again. I mean, I chose it. They say God doesn't give you more than you can handle. I guess he knew that I would be able to to make it. I'm glad he knew.
Yeah, it's like that 30,000 foot view. We're in it, and it's tough to see. Now that you've had some separation from it, and you can look back and see, look what look what all you're bringing to the table to help people. I mean, I'm sure you do. You get people who reach out to you and are like,
I constantly get people that will reach out, people that I don't even realize that they're still. And this is what I will say is the power of showing up every day.
mhm,
I have people that have been following me for years that I have been reaching and never knew, and they've reached out to me. And literally, I share a story with you. I had a guy that I've only met through racing because I was a race director, and they filmed a documentary of the race that I was directing. So when I was in it, we had a friend commit suicide the year prior. And so as race director, before the race started, I always said a prayer. And I said, this year, we're going to have a moment of silence to honor our fallen friend who
yeah,
died to suicide. And I took a moment of silence and then I prayed. And I have goosebumps saying this. I didn't realize they caught it on the documentary. I didn't do it for the camera.
hmm
I did it because my tribe was hurting. I was hurting.
yeah,
And we had lost a friend. And so I prayed and sent everybody off. And I'm tearing up thinking about it. The guy called me and he said, you don't even realize you saved my life.
oh, wow.
And I said, what are you talking about? He said, you prayed and you said in that prayer that you struggle with anxiety and depression. And if anyone needs to call you. And he said, I started following you. And he said, I was on the verge of suicide and I didn't do it because you were showing up. And I'll tell you, Suzanne, that to me, as hard as this has been, as hard as the meds are,
Mhm.
the dreams, the night sweats, and the shame of the last 30 years, if it was for that, I'd do it again in a heartbeat because that's what it's about.
Mhm.
And if it's only that one person,
Mhm.
I've done my life's purpose. That is to me what service is. And there's so many stories like that of people who've reached out and said, bro, will you talk to me? Will you please talk to me about this? I'm like, absolutely. Yeah, I don't turn anyone away. If someone calls me and says, I got a problem, um, I got ears.
Yeah.
I got two of them. So yeah, I absolutely. And I would encourage people to reach out. If you're struggling, reach out because you don't have to go through it alone.
Mhm.
It's there's no reason to go through it alone.
Yeah.
So, and if I don't know someone that can help in that particular situation, if it's not me, I know a lot of people that can help. So yeah, reach out. Absolutely.
Oh, Derek, thank you so much. Thank you. You and Joey were talking. Y'all can't see Joey; he's off camera, but he's helping. But you and Joey, he's in the military. He was in the military too, a veteran. And y'all were talking earlier. You are both thanking each other for your service. And
Yeah.
because Joey, I see people thank him. He thanks people, and it's this beautiful like bond, brotherhood, sisterhood thing that y'all have. And
It
I wasn't
is.
in it, but I thank you. And I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Oh, Derek, this is, yeah, you, thanks. That's the biggest thing I can say. I can't think of anything more to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I see you popped a link up. Hey guys, I've got a free
Mhm.
how to max out your social media. If you really want to have an impact on Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, or TikTok, this is
hmm
it explains the algorithm. It's on School Performance Freedom Academy. You can go and get it. There's no cost to it. It works because it's blown my feet up and a lot of others, my team members and stuff. And I do coaching. Obviously, I work on business systems for coaches to really be able to scale. So dvetdigital.com/coaching. You'll be able to find my coaching stuff. And then always Facebook, Derek Kozlowski. If you come up with a Derek Kozlowski and it doesn't have a blue seal, it's not me. So
Right.
I am verified. And I think the Facebook link is Facebook/Cos Derek. There's another Derek Kozlowski out there. He's
Oh.
I don't think he's as good looking.
Yeah.
But,
of course not.
he's got a friend or two, but yeah, there's
no, you'll know when you see the real deal, y'all. Derek has, I think he has like a kind of a orange
shirt,
yeah, salmon colored shirt on. Yeah, he's like this in the picture. So I mean, like, yeah, it's great, and he's got the blue seal. He does, and when you hit his page, he has like you have like thousands of followers. So when you hit his page, super high quality stuff on there. He gives a ton of value. He truly is the real deal. And when you reach out to him, you really are talking to him. He's the one who reaches back out to you, and you must be. I mean, I don't know when you sleep or but you're every time I've reached out to this gentleman, even before he agreed to come on here, he was just like Johnny on the spot, man. And so you actually encouraged me. I was like, well, gosh, if this Derek guy's like so consistent and I like where he's at, I got to be doing the same thing, So you're very inspiring to all of us out there in that way too.
So I'm next month, he's starting tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I'm working on blowing my Instagram up. So yeah, because I've been watching you, and I'm like, I'm like, wait a minute, Suzanne's killing it on Reels, because that's what I look for, is people that are really doing something cool. So yeah, this next month, I said February is my month to really concentrate on putting the business out on Instagram. That's my handle. There is the Derek Kozlowski official. That is me as well. It's a professional profile, I think. I'm using my personal now for everything because I'm not hiding stuff. Yeah. So I'm just pushing it out on personal where it can get the broadest reach. And absolutely reach out to me. It is me that answers. I don't have anyone. Yeah, and as Suzanne said, I write all my own posts. I've been asked several times, do you use the AI to write all that? No, and I don't even think about it beforehand. I sit down that morning, what's on my mind? I write, spell check, send. It's literally from mouth to from head to paper to hit send. So yeah, that's me.
That's what people need. That's what people need. Yeah, we're all connected, and the more that we realize that, the stronger we all get, and the level, absolutely, the vibration, the frequency just keeps going higher and higher.
And we get to do fun stuff like this.
Amen. That's right. That's right. And man, we need to get into the running stuff. I'm gonna have you back on. We got to just talk about running sometime.
Oh my gosh! Used to be a fanatic. Yeah.
Oh man, I want to hear about those days too.
Absolutely.
Well, Derek, I ask everyone, and I'm sorry, my connection's kind of messing up. So can you still hear me okay?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, everybody's good. Okay, thanks, Joe. Okay, okay, I ask everyone this question whenever we're starting to close. Oh, and by the way, y'all all check out his stuff, okay? He's the real deal. Go check out his stuff. Go follow him. Let's help him blow up in February. Go out there, follow him, follow his stuff, heart and like it. Drop him a comment. Instagram, it's like everyone can heart it like that, but you want to drop comments. So go in there and comment on him. So I ask everyone at the end, if you could be any tree, what kind of tree would you be?
I'd be a sequoia, no doubt.
Oh, I love sequoias.
King of the forest. Lives for years and years and years, and just rise above everything. And that's the story of my life, is learn how to rise above. And you can't look at a sequoia without thinking how long and how strong that tree had stood.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I did the Avenue of Giants out there. And
That's
as I'm running, I mean, the whole time, Derek, I'm like, "Oh my god,"
yeah,
you can't even. I mean, why are you looking down? It's just you're just overwhelmed, and I had to keep stopping. And marathon runners, they're fast. I'm
yeah,
slow, and that's probably one reason I like ultras. And I just kept stopping, and these people are just like plowing through the aid stations, or aid stations. It's like water, that's it. And
yeah.
I'm just the whole time looking up. So I feel the power of that sequoias. Yeah, that's that makes total sense that that's what you would pick.
It's magical.
Yes, they are ancient. Yeah.
I feel ancient right now.
No, not like that. Ancient in a good way. Very, very ancient in a good way.
I feel very, very wise in my years. I guess that's the right way of putting it.
Yes. Yeah, a guiding force, definitely.
Thank
And
you.
so Derek, if any of you are out there, like he said, if you're somebody out there who's struggling, if you're if you're struggling with your marketing and need some coaching,
Absolutely.
he's obviously got a track record. So let's help him blow up on Instagram this next month. And Derek, thank you so much for coming on here. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your service, and thank you for being so candid. I tell people that whenever you overcome challenges and whenever you're following your passion, it takes a lot of courage. And courage is not the absence of fear, it's feeling scared and doing it anyway, and
Yeah,
feeling fearful and doing it anyway. And you are a testament to that. And we thank you for coming on 100 for Trees and sharing that with us.
it's my honor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All of y'all have a good night. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night.